Imagine marching into the unknown, with thousands of soldiers at your side, confident in your mission. But suddenly you're swallowed by nature, betrayed by allies, or defeated by forces you never anticipated. Throughout history, there are tales of entire armies that vanished without a trace. Some lost to the sands of the desert, others to dark forests, and some to brutal winters. Their fates remain mysteries, leaving only questions and whispers of what happened. In today's video, we're investigating 5 of history's most chilling battlefield mysteries. From the Persian army that vanished in a sandstorm to Rome's elite 9th Legion disappearing in Britain, each story has captivated historians for centuries. Let's start by exploring the fate of Cambyses' lost army, swallowed by the Egyptian desert over 2,500 years ago. The Lost Army of Cambyses, 525 BCE. Our journey begins in ancient Egypt with Cambyses II, the Persian king who sent 50,000 soldiers to destroy the oracle of Amun in Siwa. Herodotus, the famous Greek historian, tells us that Cambyses wanted to crush the influence of this oracle, which had defied him. He ordered his soldiers to march across the western desert to carry out this task. But as they ventured deeper into the sands, they were hit by a massive sandstorm. According to Herodotus, the storm was so fierce that it buried the entire army alive. 50,000 men disappeared without a trace, swallowed by the sands. Archaeologists have searched for evidence of this lost army, hoping to find remnants of weapons, armor, or even bones. But despite modern technology and years of investigation, the sands have kept their secrets. Was this army really buried by a sandstorm, or did something else happen? Some historians believe that Cambyses' army may have been defeated by hostile tribes in the desert, and that the sandstorm story was an embellishment by Herodotus. But until we find concrete evidence, the fate of Cambyses' army remains one of history's greatest mysteries. The Roman 9th Legion. Next, we turn to Rome's famed Legio Hispana, or the 9th Legion. This was no ordinary force. Legio IX was one of Rome's most elite and experienced legions, known for its military prowess, but around 120 CE, this powerful legion vanished in northern Britain. There are no clear records detailing what happened, only fragments and theories. Some historians believe that the 9th Legion was sent north to pacify rebellious tribes and was ambushed, potentially wiped out in a brutal battle. Others suggest that it may have been transferred to a different region and its records simply lost to time. Yet there's another theory, that the legion was gradually dismantled and merged into other legions due to political struggles within the empire. The mystery of the 9th Legion has fascinated scholars for centuries, sparking books, films, and debates. Was it destroyed by fierce resistance in the wilds of Britain, or did it meet a quieter end? The truth remains elusive, locked in the forgotten past of Roman Britain. Our next story takes us to the fringes of the Roman Empire, near Parthian territory, where Roman forces under General Sulla reportedly vanished around the 1st century BCE. This disappearance isn't as well documented as others, but Roman accounts tell of legions that faced strange fates in the unfamiliar, hostile landscapes of Pathia. Roman soldiers were skilled, but Pathia was vast and treacherous. Many local myths speak of armies that marched into these regions, never to return. Some stories suggest they fell prey to the unfamiliar terrain, perhaps losing their way and succumbing to starvation or exposure. Others believe they faced overwhelming opposition from Parthian forces and were quietly erased from history. These vanished armies became legends in the region, whispered as cautionary tales of soldiers lost in distant lands. Without detailed records, we may never know what truly happened to Sulla's forces in Parthia, but their story adds to the haunting tales of armies disappearing on foreign soil. The Battle of Teutoburg Forest is another infamous story where 3 Roman legions under the command of Varus were ambushed in the dense forests of Germania. This wasn't a complete disappearance, as survivors managed to return with reports, but for Rome it felt like a haunting vanishing act, a disappearance that scarred the empire for generations. As the legions marched through the narrow paths, they were attacked by Germanic tribes led by Arminius, a former Roman ally. The terrain and weather favored the ambushers, and the Romans were defeated in a brutal, chaotic battle. The Germanic tribes left the bodies, weapons, and armor scattered across the forest, a haunting sight for those who later stumbled upon it. This defeat was so devastating that it left a psychological wound on Rome. The legions seemed to have vanished into the dark forests of Germania, a symbol of Roman vulnerability. For years their remains lay unburied, until finally reclaimed by Roman forces. This event became known as the Varian disaster, and marked the boundaries of Roman expansion into Germania. Finally, we look at a more recent story, the tragedy of Napoleon's Grand Army during the Russian campaign of 1812. Napoleon led over 600,000 soldiers into Russia, confident in his quest to capture Moscow. But as they advanced, they encountered a relentless Russian winter, brutal guerrilla warfare, and scarce resources. The campaign turned into a nightmare, and soldiers began to fall to the freezing cold, starvation, and disease. By the time Napoleon retreated, fewer than 100,000 men were left. Many soldiers simply vanished into the Russian winter, their remains lost to the snow. This was one of the most catastrophic military defeats in history, and the landscape itself seemed to erase all evidence of the men who perished. Napoleon's once grand army was reduced to a fraction of its size, with little left to mark the graves of those who had vanished. This haunting story of the Russian campaign reminds us that not all battles are fought against human enemies. Sometimes nature itself is the most formidable foe. These stories of vanished armies are more than just historical tragedies. They are reminders of the relentless power of nature, the chaos of war, and the unpredictability of human fate. From the scorching deserts of Egypt to the icy expanse of Russia, these armies vanished, leaving behind mysteries that continue to capture our imagination. Whether they were lost to sandstorms, ambushes, or the sheer brutality of winter, each story raises the same haunting question. Could it happen again? Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed unraveling these mysteries with us, don't forget to like and subscribe for more fascinating journeys through history.